I'll begin my skills versus capacity vlog with a 2 kettlebell front squat variation in a young football player. This guy has a pronounced extension pattern, and his capacity limitation is his mobility as well as motor control, which he presents in his failure to achieve proper depth as he struggled to achieve 90 degrees, as well as a drive into knee valgus, which you can see here in the video. Following his third session in the cycle, it seems that he's improved his squat depth as he comes to about 90 degrees, and he still presents a capacity deficit in failing to maintain a good front rack position. Clearly the athlete lacks lumbar pelvic control and has to work on fixing his zone of apposition. And in the videos you'll see these limitation to capacity presented. Due to his anthropometrics, that is his lower limb length, this athlete is very knee dominant in his squat, and also this accentuates his drive into hyperextension through the lumbar spine. The second exercise is a staggered stance deadlift with knee flexion, which we use to express force into the ground during the first step into acceleration. I've actually used the same athlete for this exercise as he presents a lack of skill due to his inability to access his hip hinge movement pattern. Here he again expresses his knee dominant movement pattern as he actually makes the exercise look more like a split squat, also moving down with his hips instead of back. However, as we move further on into the video, you will also be able to see that he's able to improve the movement pattern after being properly cued. A note on the coaching cues used here is that we used bands or rather fixed a light band around his hips to basically allow him to access his hip hinge pattern more instead of using his knee dominant movement pattern that he usually reverts to during this exercise. So this was something that we used to improve the hip hinge and also cued him to have a shorter staggered stance during the beginning of the actual movement. The second athlete is also a young football player who has difficulty expressing force during the drive phase into acceleration. I actually have both athletes side by side during this drill, so notice the difference in hip disassociation presented by both athletes, with the father athlete being more efficient, quicker to go from staggered stance into hip flexion. You will notice that with the first athlete there's a very wide stance in the front, between the front foot and the back foot, making it difficult for him to generate power through the front foot. Now the athlete also rounds his upper back, prompting the question whether this is a skill or capacity deficit, perhaps due to the lack of upper body strength. And I would actually argue that it's a mixture of both. In the final clip, we see improved force production through the front foot again after cueing a shorter step during the setup. Although there is still visible limitation in hip disassociation, prompting investigation of deep flexor strength in this athlete. I would like to conclude that we're really presented with skill